Hey everybody, it's Sean at Uplift Actions, and today we're going to do a quick tutorial on using our Let It Snow Photoshop action. This thing is seriously magical, and I just wanted to demonstrate for you guys how this actually works. Most people are thinking that the snow actions are usually an overlay, something you need to drag and drop or apply somehow into your photo. We have built ours completely different. It is an actual action that actually renders snow. And the coolest thing about it is that it is going to create new snow every time you run it. So it's not going to look the same on every photo that you run. So what we're going to do is head over to our Actions palette and assume that you've already installed your Uplift Snow Photoshop action, the applicator over here. So you're going to go down and you've got three options. There's Uplift Snow High Res, Uplift Snowier High Res, and then Uplift Snow Low Res. The reason for this is because it's generating snow, we want it to actually look realistic. So the first one is going to run a little bit less snow for you. The second one's going to obviously run a lot more. And then the last one there is for smaller, say 72 dpi, smaller images, just so it's not going to look too digital when you're finished. But for this purpose, because we're using a nice high-res photo, we are going to use the Uplift Snowier action. So we're going to select that, hit play, let it run. It's going to take a couple seconds. It is generating, like I said, 7 layers of snow here. So you can kind of watch as they drop in. It's going to be doing a lot of different things. Each layer of snow is rendered differently. So one layer is going to be a little bit more white, some are going to be a little bit more transparent, some are going to have a bit more blur, and some are going to be a lot larger, like those great big fluffy flakes that you tend to see in the in real photos where you're actually capturing the snow. So it does take maybe 20 seconds or so for the action to run, but it is totally worth it because you're going to get something that's actually really real, one of a kind, and it's going to be different on every photo that you run. These are great for your wedding photos, engagement photos, kids, pets, landscapes, anything. So we're going to see how quickly this transforms this picture just from somebody in some public square here to an actual like little winter wonderland. So the action is almost finished. And then we are going to go through and I'm going to show you because since it renders it differently every time, we're going to see basically some snow on faces, places like that where you don't want it to actually stand out. So some of these spots here, like this big white spot here on his face, we obviously don't want that there. This white piece here flying into her mouth. So what we're going to do is head over to our layers palette, and you're going to see all your snow layers 1 to 7. And what you can do, clicking the little eyeball here, you just turn them on one at a time, and you're going to see as I'm clicking it, what's happening, and you're going to turn it on and off. So you can look at spots where you don't want the snow, and if you find a spot, then you can just click on the layer mask of that layer, and because it's a white layer mask, we want a nice black brush, so ensure that this is black over here, and then there's your brush. So you can just paint out the little spots where you didn't want on that layer. So we're going to go up to our next layer. No, see, I don't mind those. Actually, the one on his hand there, I'd take that out. And then we're going to go, and there's the one that's got that great big spot on his face. Okay, so we're just going to take it out. Just to keep it real, we want to leave some. We don't want to take them all out, but just any that are kind of distracting or look a little silly when it's finished. So now that that's done, you can also see that there's some sharpening layers here. You can use those to sharpen the overall image to whatever kind of severity of sharpness that you like. So we're going to flatten our image here, just using the little drop down, click flatten image, and now we're going to tone it. So to tone the image, I just want to shift the photo a little bit. So we're going to go back to our actions, and up here in our Uplift Essential collection, we're going to run one of my favorites, which is under the Vintage Tones Ingrid's Pink Pop Photoshop action. So just click play on that. You'll be able to see really quickly by turning that layer that just ran there on and off. What it does is it just kind of brightens and adds a little bit of pop and color to your whole photo. So let's bump that opacity up to about 70 so you can see the before and after. It's giving it a nice, really cool twilighty Christmas kind of feel. And then we are going to head back to our actions, and A really cool, one of my favorites is Light Leak. That is under your helpers in the Essential Collection, and what that does is adds a little bit of warm, um, like spill light here in the top left and in the bottom right, kind of like the light leaks that would come from the old 35 millimeter film cameras. So just hit play on that, and you're going to be able to see, it's subtle, but it's beautiful. So turn it on and off. You can actually see what happened there. So we added a little bit of warmth in the top left up here and in the bottom right down here. I love that. So lastly, I'm going to run my other favorite, which is Pretty Wash. And what this does, it's just an overall tone. It's kind of like, think of it like as a haze or a transparent tint, a pastel tint that you're going to apply to the whole photo. So we just hit play, and there you go. So we can see the effect that that did. And it just added a really nice pastel soft hue to it. Because all of these run with a layer mask, you can also paint out the action. So if there's a spot of the photo where you don't want it, just click on your white layer mask here, make sure you've got a nice black brush, and then you can just start painting out anywhere where you don't want that. So what I'm doing here by painting out on that white layer mask is removing the pastel wash that I just applied, just to them, because I want them to pop a little bit more and the pastel to just kind of apply to the background. This is going to give them a little bit more contrast and help them kind of come a bit more into the foreground. And then lastly, if you wanted to add a little bit of sharpness, you can also in the Essential Collection use our Smart Sharpener brush. And that is literally a brush that is going to, if you head over to your layers palette, give us a black layer mask. So when you first run it, it doesn't look like it did anything. But because it's a black layer mask, it's already pre-selected a white brush for you. But you can now start painting in. See that? It's just kind of starting to make everything a little bit more crisp and a little bit more poppy. So you can kind of paint in where you want it. And with all of our actions, just adjust your opacity. So that's what it was like before because we're at 0. So we're making that layer invisible. And you can bump it up to a spot where you like the sharpness. So we're at about 50% there. And I think that looks pretty good. So you can go back to your history here and see what our original image looked like and what we came up with. So it's definitely a little bit more wintry, a lot more Christmassy, and you can do this to any of your photos to really make them seasonal and totally impress your clients and yourself. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little tutorial on the Let It Snow action. You can grab it over at upliftactions.com and also make sure you follow us along at Uplift Actions everywhere. And happy editing.